Tonight on NewsWatch Ole Miss, the City of Oxford's purchase of the Pumpkin Water Association is nearing a reality. But even with the approval, the city will have to win the approval of disgruntled Pumpkin customers. We'll hear from some of those customers coming up.
An official inflation report released yesterday shows record high rates. We'll take a look at how inflation is making an impact not only on customers, but local businesses as well.
And hope for a diplomatic solution at the Russia-Ukraine border is dwindling. The latest on what officials believe can only be imminent invasion is straight ahead. NewsWatch Ole Miss starts now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Kennedy Cooper.
And I'm Gavin Norton. For years, the Pumpkin Water Association has fielded complaints about the pressure, color, and quality of its water. As Oxford looks to take over PWA, some customers fear that the city will also bring its own problems with it. Well, NewsWatch reporter Anna Kate Boyd talked to some customers about their water concerns.
We're at the Lakes neighborhood, where mothers such as Brittany McLaughlin are concerned about the quality of water their families are consuming. McLaughlin and her husband and 4 children have been at the lakes for 5 years. She says during this time, they've had to deal with many water issues, such as decoloration.
Anywhere from yellowish urine looking, to be quite honest. Sometimes it's more brown when they treat it. Sometimes it ends up being more pink. It's not something that we're happy with, but it's something we've learned to live with.
She is concerned about the quality of water they are consuming, and many days struggles to bathe her children.
You can't see it in a shower, but you see it in a bath very much whenever you run the water and step out, for 4 or 5 minutes to come back, and it looks like you've rinsed off, your muddy shoes.
After several customer complaints, Pumpkin Water has entered discussions with the City of Oxford to purchase the company and fix the issues. While McLaughlin is indifferent to this solution, other residents, such as Thomas Scott, are not happy. Scott has been a homeowner at the lakes for 17 years and took the initiative to buy a $2,000 water filter.
I'm kind of concerned about the cost that we're going to run into, and there are other issues that the city is going to bring in that we don't have to deal with now.
The Lafayette County Board will make a final decision on whether to approve or reject the transfer of Pumpkin Water Association. More details to come on February 22nd. Anna Kate Boyd, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
One of the primary concerns surrounding the city's potential purchase of PWA is the extension of city guidelines up to 8 miles outside of city limits.
Heartbreaking news on campus today. Ole Miss student Ann Caroline McIntosh has died. McIntosh was a member of the Sally McDonald Barksdale Honors College, Chi Omega Lyceum Locker, Ole Miss Pre-Physician Assistant Society, Ole Miss Vet Club, and the University of Mississippi Pre-Nursing Society. Ann Caroline was known to be an excellent student, loyal friend, and loved serving others. Her older sister also attends the university. The Honors College faculty and staff encouraged that students seek help at the campus counseling center as they mourn McIntosh's death.
Well, 2 Brookhaven men face criminal charges after a black FedEx Express driver says he was chased and shot at while delivering packages. The driver, DeMoncio Gibson, says it happened on January 24th. He was driving a Hertz rental van to deliver packages when Mississippi native Brandon Case is accused of pointing a gun at Gibson from the street. Gibson says he fired shots into the van. The father, Gregory Case, is accused of chasing him down afterwards. Case was released on a $150,000 bond and his father on a $75,000 bond. Gibson's attorney says he thinks Gibson was targeted by the Cases because of his race and is seeking additional charges to the conspiracy and aggravated assault charges that Gregory and Brandon Case were arrested on.
In financial news, according to the latest report from the Labor Department, inflation is up 7.5% from a year ago, the sharpest rise in 40 years, and it's hitting more than just grocery stores. Here in Oxford, businesses are working to combat the rising prices. NewsWatch reporter Annabelle Kinney went to find out how they are approaching the rising costs.
Many small businesses in Oxford have had to make new changes to accommodate the rising inflation within their stores. Businesses are increasing wages for their employees and even adding more competitive pay to get people on the job. But with that comes another price. An increase in the pay means an increase in the cost of goods and services. The Chevron on South Lamar has seen a rise in their goods, with a bag of chips making their way from $1.89 to $2.19 in a matter of months. Off-Square bookstore owner Lynn Roberts says that she has raised minimum wage to better suit her employees.
We haven't done, recently we did across the board wage increase for all of the staff. Really in an effort to kind of raise our minimum wage.
Although many businesses in Oxford have been impacted by inflation, the ones that haven't been are worried of what's to come.
Proud Larry's employee Hudson Kennedy states that he is prepared for inflation to hit them soon.
We haven't been affected by the goods and services yet, but it's coming.
To make up for the increase in costs from leveling wages up, businesses will continue to charge more for their goods. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Annabelle Kinney.
Grocery stores are among those where inflation is hitting the hardest. And with the Super Bowl this weekend, CNN's Isabel Rosales has a breakdown on how much more you can expect to pay for all your game day needs this year.
Your Super Bowl party this 2022 may be the most expensive one you've ever hosted.
I expect to see the biggest Super Bowl spending ever because we have the largest economy ever.
Wells Fargo added it all up. Chief agricultural economist Michael Swanson says that price tag could be 14% higher than last year. The most expensive item is meat.
Proteins are what's really packing the punch for inflation.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prices for both fresh and frozen chicken wings are up nearly 12%. Ground beef is 13% higher, and steaks soared 17% over last year. Soda is up more than 9% more for a 12-pack of 12-ounce cans compared to 2021. And beer is up nearly 6%, according to BLS data. And guacamole will cost you too. Bloomberg found exporting Hass avocados from Mexico costs nearly 25% more than last year. So what's behind the rising costs? Experts blame high demand, labor shortages, and the ongoing supply chain issues. Grocery owners say they're often forced to pass along the pain to consumers when the companies they buy products from increase prices.
Like our ranchers out in Kansas, they would love to run the packing plant 6 days a week right now, but they are like on 5 days a week. They don't have enough workers.
To trim costs, experts recommend your game day spread is loaded with potentially lower price options like veggies and fruits. Also, buy items in bulk and go with cheaper generic or store name brands. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
If you're looking for items with lower inflation rates to keep the cost of your party down, hot dogs and chips are among the cheaper alternatives. Hot dogs went up just 2% and chips are up 6.5%.
In entertainment news, Oxfilm officially announced the dates for their 19th annual Oxford Film Festival. The festival is set for March 23rd through 27th. Student badges are available for $50 with the proof of a student ID. VIP badges are on sale for $150 on the Oxfilm website. The festival lineup will be announced on Tuesday, February 22nd. For updates, you can follow the festival on Twitter or Facebook. Oxfilm also encourages the community to become a member, sponsor, or donor.
Well, coming up, COVID cases in Mississippi are still down from last week, and the national dip is causing a break in responses between the federal government and the states. We'll have a look at the disagreement coming up. But first, a first look at your current conditions.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
America, land of the free. It's at the core of who we are. Freedom. The freedom to live without fear, to drive through all 50 states, to sleep safely in our own beds, the freedom to jog where we please, to watch birds in the park, to wear a hoodie, the freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because no matter your religion, gender, disability, age, race, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Russia continues to build up its military presence at the border with Ukraine, and fears of invasion are once again on the rise. Today, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan once again urged any Americans left in Ukraine to leave the country as soon as possible.
Any American in Ukraine should leave as soon as possible, and in any event in the next 24 to 48 hours. We obviously cannot predict the future. We don't know exactly what is going to happen, but the risk is now high enough, and the threat is now immediate enough, that this is what prudence demands.
Russian President Vladimir Putin continues to deny that Russia has any plans to invade Ukraine, but Western world leaders fear that Ukraine could face invasion within the week. As a result, today President Biden is sending 3,000 more troops to Poland to help Americans leaving Ukraine. They are expected to leave in the coming days.
Turning to our coronavirus coverage, there are currently 35 active COVID-19 cases on campus. 23 are students, 4 staff, and 5 faculty cases. Across the state, reports show just over 2,200 new positive test results for COVID-19 in Mississippi. The state also identified 50 dating all the way back to July 17th of last year.
And as cases across the country drop, many states are letting mask mandates expire while the Centers for Disease Control continue to recommend them. CNN's Amy Kiley has the latest on the mask debate.
To mask or not to mask? That is the question. When it comes to the answer, state and federal authorities increasingly seem at odds.
It is confusing. It's worrisome to people. They're trying to figure out. But what I've tried to do, I've tried to make sure we have all the vaccines needed, all the boosters needed, all the masks are needed, all the protection that's needed.
President Joe Biden is backing up the CDC. It recommends people mask up in indoor public spaces if they live in areas with higher substantial transmission. That's most of the country. But only 8 states still require masks inside public spaces. And 5 of those say that'll change within the next couple months.
We believe that through the Department of Health, through all the data that we have, that we're trending in an area that's going to be very safe for our local districts to make up their decision.
The mixed messages leave a lot of people confused. To help, experts are weighing in.
It's still raining a lot of virus out there. As part of those CDC projections, they still think that over the next 4 weeks, 60,000 more people could die. I mean, these are still just tragic numbers. At the same time, the numbers are coming down, and we know Omicron is not as deadly. It doesn't make people as sick as these previous variants.
In the end, the CDC mainly just offers COVID-19 guidance, not mandates.
I think every state's got to make its decision.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Today, the Food and Drug Administration pushed back its meeting to discuss Pfizer's vaccine for children under 5, saying it needs more time to study new data before making any decision. The meeting was originally set for last Tuesday.
As midterm voting approaches, economic issues are on top of voters' minds. Nearly 60% of voters feel that the economy is the most important issue ahead of the midterms. Some are focused on inflation and others on taxes. Other primary issues on voters' minds as election season approaches are voting rights and education. Less than a quarter of Americans feel enthusiastic about voting in this year's elections. And while the numbers sound low, it is similar to the level of enthusiasm as midterm in 2018.
Well, in Olympic news, American snowboarding legend Shaun White competed in his final Olympic run last night. The 35-year-old fell just short of the podium, placing 4th after a difficult set on the halfpipe. White's best run of the night came on his second run, where he posted an 85 even. Unfortunately, White ended his final run by falling. White waved to his fans in Beijing as he left for the final time. Behind him, White leaves a legacy of the most Olympic gold medals ever to be won by a snowboarder.
Coming up in sports, former Rebel quarterback Chad Kelly is continuing his football career after signing with the team in the Canadian Football League. And Shakira Austin continues to be a spotlight on the hardwood and across the nation. Find out which award she's in the running for, up next in sports.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
On October 15, 2017, 2 words changed the course of history. The words we wrote that day are a part of a longer and even more powerful history.
The wounds become scars.
Things are changing. We really need everyone's voices.
Today, we all have a chance to write another chapter, powered by everyday activism as simple as joining a march or reading a book, written to a permanent archive on a public blockchain.
Because it takes a sea of us coming forward to demand change.
Because no matter who you are, you can act too. The end of sexual violence begins with this next act.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Touchdown! Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that?
Kicking things off on the gridiron for former Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly signed with the Toronto Argonauts yesterday. At Ole Miss, Kelly started all 22 games in his career, finishing third in career passing yards and passing TDs. The former Rebel was the 253rd overall pick by the Denver Broncos in 2017 before joining the Colts in 2019. During his time with the Colts, Kelly started in 2 games and accounted for 4 touchdowns with almost 600 yards of offense. Kelly announced via social media how excited he is to be back in the gridiron. And dribbling onto the court, Ole Miss women's basketball player Shakira Austin has yet another career high as she earns a spot in the 2022 Lisa Leslie Award Top 10 watch list for the 2nd season in a row. This award picks 10 student athletes nationwide and recognizes the top centers in women's NCAA Division I college basketball. Austin earned both the SEC Media Preseason All-SEC honors and SEC Coaches Preseason First Team. Austin surpassed the 1,500 career point mark and is currently 15 rebounds away from 1,000 in her career. Keeping things on the hardwood, head coach Kermit Davis and the men's basketball team are likely eager for a shot at redemption as they travel to Columbia to take on the Missouri Tigers tomorrow. Missouri enters tomorrow's match at 9-14 overall and 3-7 in SEC play, while the Rebels are 3-8 in SEC play. The Rebels have won 3 of their last 6 against top 75 teams: Florida Gators, Kansas State, and number 16 LSU. Tomorrow marks the 20th all-time meeting between the Rebels and Tigers. Tip-off is set tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central on the SEC Network. And swinging the action over to the Diamond, Ole Miss women's softball split an opening day match, taking down Dixie State 10-1 and dropping a tight game to Oregon 0-3 yesterday. In Game 1, Dixie State struck first a lead-off walk, giving the Trailblazers an early 1-0 lead. But the Bats got hot quickly for the Rebels, giving a 9-point win over the Trailblazers. But that momentum wouldn't carry over in Game 2 against the Oregon Ducks, as the Rebels weren't able to put points on the board. Ole Miss will be looking to regroup today as they hit the Diamond against Colorado State and Cal State Fullerton. Firing things over to the gun range, the Ole Miss rifle team is looking to close out its regular season with a bang tomorrow morning when they host Memphis. Everything is clicking for the Rebels as sophomore Leah Horvath fired the second perfect air rifle score of her career. Senior Abby Buessler and Jillian Zakarski are coming off their biggest matches of the season. Buessler firing back-to-back scores of 1180 or better, and Zarziski posing 1188. Tomorrow's match against the Tigers is set to begin at 9 a.m. And Super Bowl 56 is almost here. This year's Super Bowl matchup kicks off this Sunday with the Cincinnati Bengals facing the LA Rams. The two teams emerged from their conference's number 4 seeds after winning their division in the AFC Championship. The Chiefs gave Joe Burrow and the Bengals everything they could handle. Burrow would go on to finish the game with 2 passing touchdowns and 250 passing yards. As for the NFC Championship, Matthew Stafford and the Rams faced much of the same fate as the Bengals. Stafford would finish the game with 2 touchdowns over 300 passing yards. This year's championship is the first time since 2003 that both teams enter with a combined 0 or 1 Super Bowl titles. Both quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow, are looking to win their first Super Bowl. Kickoff is set for 5:30 p.m. Central Time. That's all we've got for sports. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch for the latest sports updates.
Thanks, Cameron. While this bear is gearing up for a flight, find out why he is taking to the skies coming up on NewsWatch.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Peanut butter? We need to hurry. You're late. You need to finish, please. I gotta get him changed, okay?
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
This bear was left behind at the airport at the beginning of the year. We have to mention that this particular bear is extra special because it's given to children who are born with congenital heart defects.
That's right, airport officials turned to social media and asked for help finding the bear's owner. The post ended up being shared more than 12,000 times, and it worked. The airport says the owner has been located and plans are in the works to get the bear home. Before we close out for tonight, I do have breaking news. This coming straight from the chancellor. On the Ole Miss campus, the mask mandate will now be partially lifted effective Monday. This means that in classrooms and laboratories and other confined spaces, students will still need to wear a mask, but in public spaces such as the student union or the library or any outdoor spaces on campus still, the mask mandate has been lifted. This also applies for residence halls. You'll no longer need to be wearing a mask in those. Again, all this to be effective starting Monday. Well, that's all we have for tonight. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Gavin Norton.
And I'm Kennedy Cooper. You can find all of our social media at NewsWatch Ole Miss for the latest updates on Ole Miss and beyond.
Thank you and good night.